So this will be my first video with a voiceover script. My disclaimer for this video is that my reason for having a script is that there will be sensitive topics in this video dealing with harassment. I will not go into graphic detail due to how vulgar the harassment was, but I do want to let my viewers be aware in case this could be a triggering subject. With that being said, here's my video of my most recent market and why I will not be returning to this venue again. Hello, it's Sydney Rose, and I'm market prepping again. Got the Murder of Crows market tomorrow. I'm trying to make a new sign because my other one is a little sad. Let's come over here and look at it, shall we? It's kind of bent up and sad, and the easel I was carrying it on, so that's the duct tape. But you know, because the last market I took it to was the Drayton Mills one. I didn't bring it to Freight, or not Freight, Fret, well, you know what I mean. There's a place called Freight in downtown Spartanburg, but I'm making one out of wood, and you can see it's sparkly, so I'm super excited. So painting my bookmark carrier black as well to match the aesthetic better. I've done 2 markets with it just the wood color, and I'm finally doing it black. Tomorrow I have the Murder of Crows market at Ground Zero. Gothic market, so I'm super excited because, you know, my stuff is more on the alternative side, so usually that tends to do better at alternative and Gothic markets, so I'm excited. And it's a concert venue, so hopefully it'll bring in the right crowd that likes my jewelry and my art. Now, doing the intro the day before because I had to wake up early and I might sound crazy, and you know, if you've been watching me, you know that my intros sound crazy when I'm sleepy. All this market prep. Spray paint all over my hands, that's okay. I don't know if I'll film any more tonight, but I'll see you tomorrow at the market. So yeah, I will post this after the market, but if you know me, you should come to my future markets. Trophy appreciation. Hi, baby. She's like, nah, I don't want to be on camera. I did film a time lapse of my makeup look, and my original plan was to talk about how I wanted to do a darker makeup look because this market was a Gothic market, and I was excited to do a darker makeup look since I do not normally wear much makeup to outside markets. I'm not sure why the time lapse did not save. I do not have a nice filming camera, and I film on my iPhone still, so there must have been an unknown technical error. Market day, time to get everything in the truck and get ready to go. And since it's a Gothic market, I'm in my natural element. I usually don't put on a lot of makeup for these things, but I thought it would be fun this time. Having to do one last Walmart run before because for some reason we misplaced one of my tablecloths, so I've got to go get some tablecloths. So I'm still early, still ahead, but what would it be if not a little bit of chaos in the morning? But I'm gonna go with it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit stressed, but we'll make it work. Walmart run, tablecloths, hit the Ground Zero. I have had issues with things going wrong during markets before, so this was not out of the ordinary for me, but after I got a new tablecloth, it kind of just disappeared. I am not really sure what happened. I don't know if I left it at Walmart or it fell out of my car at some point. I'm not really sure. However, this was the least of my worries by the time I got to Ground Zero, where the market was actually being held. Here's another disclaimer, because now I'm going to be speaking on why I will never be returning to this venue again. When we arrived at the venue, I pulled over to the side of the parking lot near another car, and I did not realize I had blocked the car in. However, at every market I have done, we have always been told to move our cars after we drop everything off, so I was not planning on staying in this spot for long. I got out to see if the people over the vendors had arrived yet to show us where to set up when 2 of the men got out of their cars and approached me. They were both very rude and told me to use my common sense not to park where I had parked. I tried to explain that I was not planning on staying there and that I was new to the venue and was trying to find out where to set up. Both men started yelling various obscenities at me. My dad was there a few cars away and asked the men to stop yelling at me, and this led to both men threatening me and my dad. We told them that we would move the car, but they continued to harass and threaten us. I moved my car and both men went inside the building. I never got confirmation of who these men were completely, but I was told by some of the other vendors that they assumed one of the men was the owner of the establishment. This is alleged because this was just an assumption by the other vendors. I will not go into detail over what was said, for YouTube guidelines, legal reasons, and the sheer vulgarity of the statements that were used. When the people over the vendors arrived, I informed them of the situation, and we were told that we could not receive a refund for the spot I had paid for, and therefore I stayed. The people over the vendors did apologize to us for the behavior of the Ground Zero employees, but we were never apologized to by the employees or anyone associated with the venue. A very interesting start. I'll get into that in my voiceover, but here's Maddie. Maddie's helping me today. Maddie needs no introduction to the vlog because she's been in so many, but here's her setup. And my sign. So I think this is event number 5 for me. At this point, I was just trying to hold it together. At the beginning of the last clip, I said that we had a very interesting start. Thank goodness Maddie had not arrived before me and my dad were harassed by the Ground Zero employees. On top of what had already happened for this market, they only allowed us an hour to set up. So if you do markets with your small business, you know that that's not a lot of time to get a pop-up tent and all your merchandise set up if you want to have an aesthetic and nice pop-up. Either way, I thought maybe since I was getting better at setting up my booth, I could figure it all out in time. It normally takes me about an hour and a half to get set up. However, with the time they gave us to set up, the people over the vending were still 30 minutes late. So this meant we only had 30 minutes to set up. There was no layout for the tents, and many vendors ended up having to move inside due to limited space. This was supposed to be an all-outdoors event from the beginning, but the majority of the vendors had to go inside. Maddie was amazing at helping me set up, but we were still setting up when people started arriving for the event. The people over the vendors were very nice, and I appreciate them for apologizing on the venue's behalf, but everything was still very disorganized and not set up well. I understand that things happen and people can be late, but only allowing an hour for setup is not long enough time, and especially when other markets I've been to have offered up to 3 hours for setup before the market begins. We're in the last hour and a half. Done really good. Maddie's crocheting. I didn't get a video of Bree, but Bree is here as well, and she bought some stuff from me. She's inside. We just went around and looked at everything inside. Everybody's got some cool stuff. I got a knife, but I don't think I can show that on YouTube without getting demonetized.
Well, you can see the outside of it.
Yeah, the outside is pretty. And then I got some earrings that kind of look like the ones I'm wearing right now, but I thought, I'm like, it kind of goes with this aesthetic, and if I ever cosplay Harley Quinn again, I've got a lot of like options with cars. Oh, they're just in there. But little card earrings, they're very cute. So that's my haul. I said I wasn't going to spend money, but it's fine. Free with her haul, because we both went inside and got stuff. Too much, but it's probably worth it, and you're supporting small businesses, and I'm always going to say support small business. One of the other vendors had leftover cupcakes, and she sold them to us for $1. Cute.
That is
I didn't get her on film, but McKenna also came to support me at this market. After the event was over, me, Maddie, and McKenna went to get dinner in downtown Spartanburg. Bree has a further drive, so she just headed home. I will say this was a much-needed stress reliever from the day. We ate and then walked around downtown Spartanburg and just explored the area in general. Overall, I will say monetarily this was the most successful market for me, but I also know this is due to the fact that it was a Gothic market and my art is alternative art. I did enjoy getting to meet people who seemed genuinely excited about my art and other vendors who made similar art to me, and how creative everybody was. I am extremely disheartened that this experience has been tainted for me due to the unprofessionalism from Ground Zero. If you follow my Instagram, you know that I've been promoting this market and have been talking about how excited I have been for it for about 2 months now. There are not a lot of alternative markets in the South, and it's disappointing to see that there is such a toxic culture surrounding the scene. Every market that I've been to so far was very professional, and there were many supportive creators there. I have met a lot of truly amazing people through this experience, and I know I will meet more in the future. It is a shame that this venue was so unwelcoming. I have now blocked the venue's social media, and I do not want my art associated with them whatsoever. As I am writing a script, and I am currently reading off of that script, but I'm still new to this, and I'm not sure if the clips of exploring downtown will be playing, or if I'm at the next part of my video where I have found several reviews for Ground Zero displaying the employees' poor behavior. I decided to do research into these reviews because we were told that the men who harassed us were not normally like this. However, based on these reviews, it is clear that we are not the first people to experience this behavior from the employees. The responses from the owner on some of the reviews are also very inappropriate, and the last one I have on this video, from the owner even responds poorly on a 5-star review for Ground Zero. From speaking with other vendors in the alt scene, they allegedly treat their employees very poorly and often use slurs towards them at Ground Zero. This, again, is alleged because it's from word of mouth, so take that how you will. The only thing I can speak truthfully on for sure is my own story because I lived it. Some of the other vendors at the event said they also did not feel safe and would not be vending at Ground Zero again because of what happened to me. I am thankful that the people over the vendors were apologetic for the events that occurred, but there is no excuse to treat other people how we were treated at Ground Zero in Spartanburg. I like to pride myself on being an unproblematic creator on the internet, and confrontation in general just makes me want to crawl under a rock. I am not the type to complain much to do with customer service in general, because if you've been following me for a while, you know that I am a part-time server at a local restaurant. So I get it. I have been in the industry since I was 18 years old, but this goes beyond poor customer service. I did think about not making this video at all instead this week and making a Tuesday daily vlog instead, saying I didn't feel like filming the market, so I did not cause any more problems and put negative content on YouTube. But the more I thought about it, the more I decided that I did need to make this video as a PSA to other vendors. I do not have a large following on YouTube, and my biggest following is on TikTok, but I don't make much content about my small business on TikTok, so it makes more sense to post it here. I have enjoyed making videos about the trials and errors of starting a small business and going to pop-up events. I want to document my experiences not only so I can remember and enjoy looking back on the memories, but to potentially help others with their own business, or even to inspire somebody to start their own. So with that being said, this has definitely been a lesson for me to look more into places I take my small business to. In the future, I will do more research about the markets and make better decisions based on that research. I urge other people with small businesses or people that are starting small businesses to take their time and do their own research as well, because this time it became a safety issue. I know this is not my normal upbeat video, and thank you for watching this far. I urge other local vendors to stay away from vending at Ground Zero and to make sure you are vending at somewhere that is safe. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope everybody has an amazing day. Next week, my content will be a lot more happy.